Houston, we may have 4 new Speedmaster watches to take a closer look at. The 3 Dark Side of the Moon models may initially look familiar with, for lack of a better phrase, dark white, dark, and dark red variants, but the new Grey Side of the Moon will certainly stand out. However, all 4 include notable evolutions and refinements. Let's run through it all. Look, everybody knows the Speedmaster. Usually that would be quite presumptuous to say, and of course there are individuals who have yet to discover the iconic chronograph, but in a post-Moonswatch world, its decades-long history with NASA and space expedition, and a long fan favorite of watch collectors, it is safe to say it is one of the most recognizable watches in the world. But then again, the Speedmaster collection is so expansive. The most familiar model is the Professional Moonwatch, but there are now over 20 configurations in this segment. And for the overall Speedmaster range, when you consider its Heritage segment, Speedmaster 38 segment, 2 Counter segment, and more, there are over 100 variants to explore on the Omega website. So with so many options to choose from, it is forgivable to not be familiar with each and every reference. One segment, one that is one of the most favored beyond the OG Moonwatch, is the Dark Side of the Moon range that began 12 years ago in 2013, a significant moment which brought forth the first ever Speedmaster in a full ceramic case. The Dark Side of the Moon has since grown from a single model to a full-blown subsegment with many Side of the Moon configurations. Today, however, this range evolves further with, as I mentioned before, 3 new Dark Side of the Moon models and 1 new Grey Side of the Moon model. But let's first start with the new Dark Side of the Moon trio of watches. All the Dark Side of the Moon models are executed in 50-meter water-resistant black ceramic cases, though with slightly different finishes, and still measure 44.25 millimeters in diameter, but with a 0.2 millimeter more lug-to-lug span of 50 millimeters. Where the cases for these watches have most notably evolved, however, is in regard to their thickness. The 2 automatic variants, the dark and the dark white, are now a little over a millimeter thinner, measuring 15.09 millimeters thick. I refer to the reworked version of the original Dark Side of the Moon as the dark white due to the fact that the liquid metal tachometer scale, the lume, and the majority of the dial text are white in hue. The second automatic, the dark, as its name suggests, has all these elements in a more black hue. While that may all feel familiar, the dials are not one-to-one the same, as they now feature a more vintage-flavored pie pan-like architecture, the center of the dial raised with an upper plate and then sloping down at the outer extremities. The dark white has a new 2-plate ceramic dial construction with laser brushed finishing, while the dark has a slightly brighter black dial that incorporates laser sandblasting. Both dials have dial matching date complications at the 6 o'clock position and chronograph counters at the 9 and 3 o'clock positions, with the left counter conveying the small seconds and the right counter relaying both the elapsed hours and minutes of the chronograph, with 2 subhands strategically nestled within the single counter. There has been internal evolution for these watches as well, jumping from the caliber 9300 to the 9900, which results in these 2 more familiar configurations being Metos Master Chronometer certified for the first time. It is otherwise structurally the same, still utilizing a column wheel architecture and still affording 60 hours of power reserve. But it is worth noting that the all black, or the dark, compared to its predecessor, now has its movement decorated with darkened bridges to better match the all black vibe. To close out the new Dark Side of the Moon trilogy, we have the dark red variant, which has a dial that merges elements of the dark white and the dark together. Its dial is a darker black than the dark white and has the pop of red too, but it has the sandblasted finish on its upper plate like the dark and the blackened hands and lume as well. The real departure from the previous pair, however, is that it utilizes the manually wound Metos Master Chronometer 9908 caliber and in turn is more than 2 millimeters thinner, measuring just 13.02 millimeters thick. The 9908 is also a 60-hour caliber, and to better match the predominantly dark aesthetic of the watch, the caliber has been given a blackened finish as well. All 3 models can be purchased on a new black rubber strap that debuts a new lunar surface texture to the underside, but the 2 automatics have the distinct second option of being offered on a black nylon strap as well. Both of these straps are secured to the wrist via a case-matching folding clasp. Now, fans of the Dark Side of the Moon Apollo 8 watch will be happy to see this new Grey Side of the Moon model. It is also an Apollo 8 tribute, using Jim Lovell's historic observation during Apollo 8 that the moon is essentially gray, as a muse for its gray look. Like the dark side of the moon Apollo 8, this watch also has a laser-ablated lunar surface motif on the surface of the front and back of the movement. The near side of the moon appears between the skeletonized gray dial, while the far side of the moon emerges through the case back. This new gray side of the moon model and its gray ceramic case shares the same 44.25mm diameter and 50mm lug-to-lug span as the new dark side of the moon models, but it is the thinnest of the four with a 12.97mm measurement for its thickness. This is due to the fact it utilizes the Metas Master Chronometer Caliber 3869, the same 50-hour manually wound movement found in the Speedmaster Professional Moonwatch. This also results in the dial, compared to the dark side of the moon models, having no date complication and instead 3 dedicated counters that indicate the small seconds, elapsed hours, and elapsed minutes from left to right. It also means that the new gray side of the moon does not have the time zone adjustment function the new dark side of the moon models have with their 9 series calibers, which allows you to independently adjust the hours hand without interrupting the timekeeping of the movement. So that's a pretty neat feature. In terms of the strap options for this new gray side of the moon watch, you can select either a gray rubber strap with the new lunar surface motif underside or a gray nylon strap, both of which are secured to the wrist via a case matching folding clasp. Ultimately, half of this new collection, the 2 black ceramic automatics, are more about subtle refinements with significant impact, like finally making the original dark side of the moon design Metas Master Chronometer certified for the first time in its 12-year history. The manually wound dark red variant of the dark side of the moon importantly offers a manually wound evolution that offers the same sense of modernity with its black ceramic case and largely black dial, but in a much thinner case. And the gray side of the moon Apollo 8 watch simply brings new color to a design that many enjoy due to its lunar surface laser ablation. Between all of the variants, I think my pick would have to be the dark red manually wound dark side of the moon, as I had the pleasure of wearing the original dark side of the moon design while visiting NASA with Omega in Houston. Yes, I bought this sweater while I was there. And look, I personally loved how that watch looked on my wrist, but would be more than happy to trade self-winding for a case that is a few millimeters thinner. But I want to know what you think of this new range, and which would be your pick of the 4. Let me know in the comments below. For full pricing and specifications, be sure to click on the description below. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe to the channel so you can be apprised of all the latest watch news, reviews, and content. And as always, I'll see you on the next one.